the final day of the ACC regular season, we welcome you to Conte Forum in Chestnut Hill, where today the NC State Wolfpack look to bounce back from a heartbreaker at PNC Arena on Wednesday night. Meanwhile, it's senior day for Boston College. Markel Johnson hoping to spoil the party in the second meeting of the year between the Wolfpack and the Eagles. The first went to overtime 17 days ago. Welcome courtside, everybody. Great to have you with us. Evan Lepler with Brian Oliver. And for NC State, the margin between winning and losing so teeny tiny. The Wolfpack learned a lesson on Wednesday night.
Yeah, on Wednesday, the heartbreaking loss for them, and what should have been a game-winning three-pointer by Torin Doran. On senior night, he comes up with what should have been a historic moment. Georgia Tech comes back. They win the game off of a penetration by Alvarado and a dump-off to James Banks. That's a loss that they definitely did not want to have. Today is an important game for them. They need to come out, have this victory, because it's an important game for them for their NCAA hopes.
When Wolfpack entered today 8-9 in the ACC, they're basically locked into the 8-9 game in the tournament, regardless of what happens today. For the Boston College perspective, tough one on Tuesday against Carolina. It is senior day, and while there's so much talk about Kai Bowman and whether he comes back for his senior year next year, Jordan Chapman has had a wild journey, and it'll be an emotional senior day for him today.
I remember this day being a senior, and there's a lot of emotion. For a guy like Jordan Chapman, the numbers that he's put up have been impressive. 13 points a game. He struggled in the last game against Carolina. For him, they need him to come out, get past the emotion, knock down some threes, help them pull out this victory.
Chapman looking to bounce back from a tough shooting night against Carolina. He is our Hardy's star to watch. Well, 2.5 weeks ago, BC and NC State played 45 minutes in Raleigh. We'll see how many it takes today in Chestnut Hill. Lineups and tip-off coming up. Welcome inside Conte Forum, everybody. The Wolfpack and the Eagles getting ready for basketball battle. And the starting lineups for the Wolfpack, no surprises. Dorn, Beverly, Johnson in the backcourt with Bryce and Walker up front. On senior day, walk-ons Gordon Gehan and Irvin Mesniaks make their first career starts alongside Bowman, Chapman, and Popovich. Winston Tabbs, a member of the Eagles' Big Four, not expected to play today. Our four keys to the game for this one, the Wolfpack and the Eagles. Kevin Keats, what's he thinking about, Brian?
And for NC State, bench points. In the last matchup against Boston College, they scored 35 points off the bench. And then for Boston College, dominate the paint. Nick Popovich has been averaging 22 points in the last 2 games. And then when we talked to Kevin Keats, he basically says Stephon Mitchell has been a thorn in his side on the rebounding edge, so they've got to basically take advantage inside.
Yeah, Stephon Mitchell had 13 rebounds against the Wolfpack 17 days ago. Walker and Popovich jump center circle. Wolfpack in their road reds, and here we go. ACC regular season game number 18. Of course, next year we'll play 20 regular season conference games in the 19-20 season. Jamie Lucky, Mark Schnur, Tim Colmer presiding this afternoon. And Wyatt Walker wide open for the slam.
Miscommunication by BC. For NC State, you want to come out and get started. Great play by by Markel Johnson being able to get Walker wide open.
Got your Markel's confused there for a second.
I did for a second.
Well, Kai Bowman, it's hard to confuse what this guy has done. Today his 97th game in an Eagles jersey. And you know, Kai tweeted last night saying he's going to make up his mind at the end of the season whether he's going to come back or not. But said the sense you got, this could be his last game inside Conte Forum. Popovich no good. Walker the rebound. 1 minute in. Stephon Mitchell and Jarius Hamilton are waiting at the scorer's table, presumably to get the walk-ons at the next whistle. Markel Johnson to the bucket. Wyatt Walker making his presence felt early. Pretty good ball movement to Dorn for 2.
Nice shot by Dorn. That's one of the things that he's been able to do all year long. A matchup where a lot of times teams don't have a guy that can handle him because he crashes the boards and finishes well around the basket.
Now, if you're Jim Christian, you don't want to blow a timeout 2 minutes into the game. You only get 4, but you're hoping to get a whistle pretty quick, and there it is. Not a smart foul by Markel Johnson for a number of reasons. And the subs will come in, and Jordan Chapman will shoot 3 free throws.
And we talked about Jordan Chapman has been one of those guys that, for him, he needs to see the ball go into the basket early. Talk about coming off the Carolina game, not shooting the ball well. For a guy, you don't want to give him those free looks at the free throw line.
Well, Jordan Chapman, of course, began his college career at BYU, where his father played. Jeff Chapman scored nearly 1,800 points in his 120 career games, 1984 to 1988. Jordan's wife, Chelsea, whom he met on his LDS mission in Taiwan. They both speak fluent Mandarin, and now Mesniaks and Gihan will get a round of applause from the BC faithful. Of course, Chapman began basically redshirted a year and then spent one season playing sparingly for BYU and went on his mission. He had graduated in 2 years. He was thinking about going to law school, got into BYU law school, and then they said he couldn't go to the law school and still play basketball, so he looked elsewhere and found a home at BC.
And talking about a guy that's his route to how he got here, amazing. I definitely would say that so far he's winning.
Dorn had it poked away, and here come the Eagles. Bowman pulls up, fouled by Walker from behind.
And this is what Boston College wants to do, Evan. They want to get out in transition, get those easier baskets. When you look at what Mitchell does, is that he comes up from behind. And this is the guy that I think that is a big key for Boston College. Comes in, gets a piece of that clean block, and Boston College is going to take advantage and run when they can.
So Kai Bowman gets his first point at the free throw line. Kai from the town of Havelock, North Carolina, southeastern North Carolina in Craven County. About 2 hours southeast of Raleigh, state capital, where the Wolfpack preside.
He's always had impressive numbers. It seems like he's got a little extra gas in his tank when there's somebody that from another Carolina, be it the Tar Heels or the Blue Devils, and then the Wolfpack. Seems like he's got a little bit extra in his tank today.
Popovich the rebound. NC State scored the first 4. Eagles have scored the last 4. Bowman missed his first 3 of the day. These two teams have split their last 6 meetings, Brian, 3-3. With a bunch of competitive games and a calming violation. Mark Schnurr called it on Markel Johnson. Remember, these two teams met in the ACC tournament last year at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, 91-87 to BC. And the situation for Kevin Keats and company today, he talked about after Wednesday, they don't really know what their net rating, which is pretty good, will do for them in terms of NCAA deliberations. Popovich lays it in. The certainty is that losing today would hurt and winning today would help.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. When you get to the end of the season, then every victory definitely helps your chance. I'd like to go back that last dump off to Popovich. I've been so impressed with his numbers over the last 5 games and how well has he been. Did you see Braxton Beverly knock down that 3?
Well, and Braxton Beverly makes his first 3-pointer attempted in a game. He shot about 45% in those games in ACC play. If he's missed his first shot in a game, he shot less than 30% in those games. Here's Popovich, one dribble to the basket.
Well, Popovich being able to show the ball faking in to get to the basket. That's one of those things that a year ago, he was not doing that.
No.
His ability to be able to face up, put the ball on the floor. Jim Christian, you have to love your big man off to a good start.
I mean, he's been an all-ACC guy the second half of the season. It'll be interesting to see when the voting comes out whether he gets recognition. Averaging about 18 points a game the last 6. Battle inside, jump ball. Possession goes to BC. We get ourselves a timeout. Nick Popovich has emerged as a leader and a scorer for Boston College. Eagles by 1 early. Beautiful day in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston, where the Eagles lead by 1. And it's now time to look at our startup, brought to you by the Honda dealers of the Carolinas, and looking at the ACC bubble teams, the records, the quadrant records broken down. What stands out to you, Brian?
Well, I think for one thing, for NC State, the quad 4, those victories, 10-0, wondering how much the committee will consider that a big plus, because when you look at Syracuse and what they've been able to do, and then Clemson and they're winning, it's always good for you to finish off the season on a high note and then possibly get that victory also in the first round of the ACC tournament.
Today's going to be a quadrant 2 result for NC State as Dorn rebounds the Chapman miss. Ahead quickly, Devin Daniels into the ball game. We talked about bench points early. Devin Daniels has been the spark for NC State more often than not. And his only double-double of the season against Boston College on February 20th.
Yeah, 19 points and 11 rebounds. Important for them. When we talked to Kevin Keats about his guys off the bench, he said it was important that those guys got off to a good start.
It's a great cut by Daniels, and the pass didn't match it. Bryce overthrew him on the cut to the rim. Here comes Blake Harris and Jericole Helms into the game. Dorn and Bryce to the bench. NC State's bench over the course of the season, when the bench has scored 20 or more points, the Wolfpack are 19-5. When the bench doesn't get to 20 points, the Wolfpack are 1-5.
Well, you saw Kevin Keats come with his bench early, and I think wasn't really happy with the energy that he saw earlier on, hoping that the bench can come out and get them off to a better start.
A couple bad passes consecutively from each side, and Devin Daniels not going to get away with a push-off right in front of Jamie Luckey.
Nick Popovich moving his feet, and again, the improvement that he's shown, Evan. You see, how about your big guy being able to move his feet, get to a point. Nick Popovich off to a really good start on both ends, being able to shuffle those feet.
Stephon Mitchell to a wide open Jarius Hamilton. Not giving up his shot.
Well, a nice recognition by Mitchell. He had Popovich down there, opted to go to Hamilton. And good. You get a guy like Hamilton off, you know what you're going to get from Bowman right now, but you need those other guys to step up.
Braxton Beverly answers. He's 2 for 2 from deep.
Very good start for Beverly. Again, we talked with Kevin Keats last night about the last game not shooting the ball well, and he said that Braxton Beverly, he's not worried about him because that's a guy that's got super confidence in himself. Yeah, on display, knocking out his first 2 threes.
Bowman tried to bank it, did not fall. Here's Daniels from the wing. Battle for the board won by Chapman. Kevin Keats was lamenting after the game on Wednesday against Georgia Tech. The missed shots from both Beverly and Bryce as Mitchell called for the offensive foul. Beverly takes the hit. Braxton and CJ finished a combined 1 of 16 against Georgia Tech on Wednesday at PNC Arena. First foul on Mitchell.
And he also said with the quick turnaround is that he let his team hear it the first time after the game, but then you've got to move on, focus on this game. Equally important because, again, you talk about their NCAA hopes and the fact that they can ill afford another loss.
NC State, a lot of folks consider them to be ahead of schedule last year when they made the dance. First season under Kevin Keats. Helms on the attack, can't finish, and Don Carlos Reyes just off the bench grabs a rebound. Chris Herron Jr.'s into the game as well for Jim Christian. Herron has been a nice surprise in his freshman season. Bowman puts Beverly in a blender. Beverly does a pretty good job defensively, though, and Helms grabs the rebound.
And he was able to force Bowman into a contested shot. And against a guy like Bowman, you want to make sure that you don't get caught reaching. That last time, good solid defense by Braxton Beverly.
Looking to Funderburk, and great anticipation by Bowman. Eagles with a steal. Herron rejected by Helms. Ball bounces to Hamilton. And the kickout pass off Herron, taken by Harris. Right past Pullman, and Herron blocks it, but the foul called from behind. Pretty good pace, Brian Oliver.
Well, you see Boston College, they want to get in, and how about Helms being able to come back and the timing on the block shot?
Get out.
And that's what you want if you're Kevin Keats. You got guys that come off the bench to give you that type of energy. And sometimes when you have a heartbreaking loss, you have to make sure that you set the tone early. Right now, back and forth between NC State and Boston College.
Kevin Keats 2-1 against BC so far as the head coach of the Wolfpack. Blake Harris played just 4 minutes, didn't score on Wednesday. 2 for 2 at the line, the Chapel Hill native. Started his college career at Missouri and transferred midway through his freshman season. So our fourth lead change in the opening 7.5 minutes. Pack back in front by 1. Heron short. And that was last touch by Hamilton. Wolfpack ball.
I thought Hamilton gave up his dribble a little too soon. The last time he had a clear shot, Thunderberg was chasing him, and he thought he was going to stay with him. If he had one more dribble, you see clear path right there. If he had kept going, he would have had a free lane. Aaron had a contested jump shot.
Well, we were joking before the game because Jared Hamilton, who played 16 minutes on Tuesday, was not warming up for the game today. Not sure what the issue is, but Jarius missed the game with a foot injury suffered last weekend at Georgia Tech. So BC has had like a one Hamilton quota for game day. Both Hamiltons have been pretty good at times for the Eagles. And there's Kai Bowman. He's been good all 3 years in Chestnut Hill.
And his ability to score and put pressure on the defense, you saw in transition, being able to take his time. I think that for a guard of his size, you know, you've always heard people talk about the most dynamic guard in the country. As you see Helms knock down that 3. Bowman puts a lot of pressure on you, and I love the fact that he dominates on both ends of the floor.
Helms had been just 4 of his last 19 from 3 in the past 15 games. Delivers, and there's Reyes, too strong off the glass, saved by Thunderberg. Helms to the corner. Harris kicks it. Daniels. Harris. Great ball movement. Someone's got to shoot it. And Johnson does not get the roll. It will stay Wolfpack ball, and we'll take a break. Jordan Chapman on his senior day made a couple of free throws. Eagles, though, trailing by a pair. No matter the result, you never forget your senior day, and the walk-ons who work as hard as anybody. Gordon Gehan with his family. And then Irvins Mesniaks, the Latvia native, member of the Latvian junior national team. He played a bunch his freshman year. And, of course, Jordan Chapman, 3 very good seasons, one of the great three-point shooters in BC history. And could this be Kai Bowman's last game at Conte Forum as well? He tweeted last night saying tomorrow could possibly be my last time playing at Conte. After the season, I'll sit down with his family to talk over his future decisions.
Well, I think he's definitely put himself in a position where he can make that kind of decision where, you know, he can look out for his future. I think right now he's done an awful lot for this Boston College program.
Helms off to the right. Bowman stumbles but hangs on. Chapman in transition, little Euro step, comes up short. All right, Brian, you talk about everyone remembers their senior day. Who'd you play on your senior day? What happened in the game?
We played Clemson at home, and you can check it. Your boy had 34 on senior day.
I had no doubt. How many shots did you take? That's the question.
You are going to see the glass as half full, aren't you? Half empty.
No, 34. That's impressive. And you won the game.
And a victory. And a victory, yes. And a victory. You can't put your phone down and stop trying to look for it.
I trust you. Here's Chapman, his first 3. First 3 got fouled on. His first 3 that counts as an attempt. He misses to the right. Quarter of the way through this basketball game. C.J. Bryce, nothing but net. And Jim Christian takes a quick timeout.
You see Markel Johnson's going to look ahead, and C.J. Bryce all by himself being able to get Nick Popovich with a fake. And great opportunity for him to get going. He has not been as dominant a scorer in the last few games as they had earlier in the season.
And C.J. Bryce a month ago was leading the Wolfpack in scoring in conference play. He's dipped down, though, scoring just single digits in 3 straight games. Longest stretch without a double-figure game this year. And well, Jim Christian obviously displeased with the defensive effort, but the 12-2 Wolfpack run coincides with these numbers you're looking at here.
Well, I mean, you look at some of the shot selections that Boston College have been doing right now. I haven't really been happy with some of that. I think that you take a little bit more time, put some pick and roll with Bowman and Popovich, and you look to get Chapman, you know, with a 3-point shot. With this lineup, you have to find a way to get Bowman going and establish Popovich.
Kai Bowman, 1 for 4 from the field. Looking back door. Great defense by Beverly. I like the energy Wolfpack have started this game with defensively.
Yeah, they've come out with a sense of urgency. They've been getting deflections on defense and getting their right looks on offense.
Markel Johnson hasn't scored yet. Dishes to a wide open Beverly. BC dodged a bullet on the shot, but not out of the woods yet. Johnson to Walker. Easy two. Whatever Jim Christian said in the timeout didn't necessarily translate.
Well, a great dime by Johnson being able to pull Popovich with him. And Wyatt Walker's one of those guys that doesn't just sit out there. Big guys have to go right to the rim. Good find.
Nearly 3 minutes on the Eagles scoring drought. Popovich unable to keep it alive, trying to save it from the midcourt line. Wide open Beverly. Bang.
How about Braxton Beverly? 3 of 4. Boston College got to do a better job. Those unforced turnovers. Getting the Wolfpack off to a good start.
9 points for Beverly. And a 12-0 NC State run. 17-2 going back 5.5 minutes. Popovich going right at Walker. Dorn came to help, and it didn't matter. Popovich ends the drought.
And then that matchup between Popovich and Walker, I think that Boston College can exploit that because Popovich has been able to get by him 2 times to the basket.
It's a second palming violation on Markel Johnson called in the half.
Well, you look at Johnson being able to pull 2 defenders, keeping his head up and get Walker on the dive. And any chance they get where you got to put a hand on Braxton Beverly. That's a guy that we talked about earlier that if he gets rolling, already off to a good start, 3 or 4 behind the arc.
Markel Johnson, 3 assists already. I think Wes Durham was talking about it during the broadcast on Wednesday night. Markel Johnson's assist numbers are down this year compared to last year, but he's a heck of a playmaker and comes up with a defensive play there.
I think Kai Bowman's spending too much time playing with the ball going east and west. You know, in the situation you're playing, you got to be decisive in what you're doing.
Dorn recovered. C.J. Bryce, tough step back. And Mitchell chases down the rebound. That's his first of the game, though. Kevin Keats has to be pleased by.
Yeah, but one of the things about Stephon Mitchell is that he can go out and play a C.J. Bryce. That last time, good defensive possession. Yet another turnover by Popovich.
Both teams tumbling, leads to the Bryce breakout.
If you're Jim Christian, you cannot be happy with the turnovers that are leading to transition buckets for North Carolina State.
26-15, closing in on 7 minutes to play here in this first half. Of course, double-digit lead between these two teams, not necessarily that meaningful because we remember what happened a couple weeks ago in Raleigh. Eagles went on a 15-0 run late in the game, overcame a 14-point gap, but no awareness of the situation there. BC with its 7th turnover, and NC State in control.
NC State being able to get some offense from their defense. Get on in a break, up by 11.
ACC College Hoops is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. Be bold, be confident, live fearless, North Carolina. North Myrtle Beach. It's not just a beach trip. It's South Carolina's most surprising getaway. Get inspired at explorenorthmyrtlebeach.com. And Husqvarna All-Star Lawns start with Auto Mower. For a perfect lawn 24/7. Husqvarna, ready when you are.
Fresh coat of snow last weekend here in the Boston area. 26-15, NC State in front. 6:54 to play here in this first half. Wolfpack on a 14-2 run. The last 5-6 minutes, they've controlled this game at both ends.
Well, and they've been able to get deflections and get run-out points, and then they've done a good job of being able to execute their offense, too. Something that I think that Boston College has to take more advantage of the matchup with Popovich when he is in the game, and then get Bowman off to a good start.
Beverly, quick release. Rebound Reyes. NC State, with a win today, would finish 8th in the ACC. With a loss, they'd finish 9th. Either way, they're going to play Clemson First game on Wednesday at the ACC tournament in Charlotte. Darius Hamilton's three off the iron, and the rebound finds Beverly.
That contested shot by Hamilton. Almost certain you could have gotten a better shot than that, especially with this lineup that they have. That last time they had Beverly guard Mitchell. Like to see him get in the post. You see Bryce with another three.
I think Bryce has bounced back from his 1-for-8 game the other night.
Well, and it seems like he's got a little pep in his step from the last game that they played. I think North Carolina State has come out and they've done a good job of executing. And this is a team that does make it uneasy for you to run your offense by getting out and pushing you further out.
Eagles led 11-7, 22-4 Wolfpack ever since. Hamilton on the glass, missed the stick back. Beverly wide open. And Dorn over Bowman for the rebound, sticks it back up and in, and Jim Christian has seen enough. Timeout again for the Eagles. 31-15.
But the energy that North Carolina State has come out with, and you see Braxton Beverly up with a wide open shot. How about Torrin Dorn coming over, one of the better guards as far as rebounding for that putback. And again, Evan, we talked about with North Carolina State, the energy they've come out in this first half, understanding that they need this game. They have come out on all cylinders on both ends of the floor.
And for BC offensively, Popovich is 3 for 4. The rest of the team is 2 for 15. Around the ACC, there were 3 games at noon. Florida State came back from a halftime deficit to win on the road at Wake. Clemson is down to the half against Syracuse. That's a huge win for Brad Brownell's team.
And Clemson is one of those teams also that, you know, right there on the bubble. Every win is important for them. Huge win for them going to close out the regular season.
And Pittsburgh beats Notre Dame, so that takes Pittsburgh out of the cellar and drops Notre Dame into the 15th seed. That means Boston College will face Pittsburgh in the 11-14 matchup on Tuesday. And the Eagles will play Pitt, team that they beat by 9 on February the 12th here at Connie Forum. How will BC respond to this most recent timeout from its head coach? Mitchell banks it in.
Nice move by Mitchell. I know a lot of times he would prefer to pass that. I like that he was able to realize that he had the advantage in a finish. Boston College has got to get some stops. North Carolina State up until now have been able to get what they want on the other end.
Wolfpack is a team shooting 46%. Got a +7 advantage on the boards. Dorn in the little pocket outside the lane, missed it. Another rebound for Mitchell. Chance for the Eagles to score back-to-back hoops. Chapman, quick touch pass inside Popovich. He's got the height advantage on Dorn. Popovich with a left hand, no. Dorn has been undersized in a lot of matchups that he's won.
Yeah, and I thought that Nick Popovich, he had the advantage. I would have seen him like to make a move closer to the basket rather than going away. I thought he bailed out Torrin Dorn.
Here's Kai Bowman, just 1 of 6 so far to Hamilton. And the Eagles are 1 for 6 from 3, Brian.
And North Carolina State doing a good job in transition defense, Evan, being able to get back and take away any advantage that Boston College has on that transition in.
Thunderberg scoop pass for the Torrin Dorn slam.
The pass over to Dorn. Thunderberg being able to draw the BC defenders. Get the ball over to Dorn for a nice finish.
Popovich answers.
That pick and roll that they've run with Popovich has been successful because, again, he's doing a better job in the second half of the season of finishing around the rim. Great read and finish by Popovich.
Oh, thinking about a loud moment. Devin Daniels gets fouled on the attack.
You see 2 explosive guys going at it. You see a nice little dump off. Thunderberg over to Torrin Dorn for the finish. We got a good one, NC State.
NC State with a 14-point lead, 3:09 to play in the first half. Of course, last time these two teams met, BC overcame a 14-point deficit in the second half, a 16-0 run. So Wolfpack won the game in overtime, shot the ball really well in the extra period. But a game that had 7 ties and 8 lead changes, and The point is, this one's far from over. Kevin Daniels, who had a double-double in that first meeting, at the line out of the timeout.
And NC State off to, again, a good start. 10 assists on 13 made field goals. For Kevin Keats, you have to be very happy with how they've come out. They didn't start out with a lot of energy, but since that their reserves came in, picked up their energy.
Well, Boston College, it's hard for them to succeed if Kai Bowman, their best player, does not play well, and he's 1 of 6 so far. How do they get him going?
Well, again, they've been able to do well with him and running a pick and roll. I think that North Carolina Johnson has done a good job of getting those deflections and making it hard for them.
Tough finish for Johnson after the theft of Heron.
And what NC State has done is they've thrown multiple defenders at Bowman and not allowing him to get any kind of rhythm.
That was the first points for Markel Johnson. Does have 3 assists. Kai Bowman, Funderburk had the help, and Daniels has the rebound, and Wolfpack got 5 on 4 with Bowman slow to get up at the other end. Daniels to the hoop, puts it in. Wolfpack lead by 20.
How about Devin Daniels with the finish? And again, for North Carolina State, they've got athletic wings with some length. They get those deflections, they're able to get out and finish around the rim.
Bowman and Bryce have been jockeying for position all the way up the floor here.
Well, that's one of the things that said that North Carolina State is throwing multiple defenders. Last time you saw Daniels on him, that last time you saw C.J. Bryce on him.
It's a 32-8 run over the last 12 and a half minutes. BC led 11 of 4 and been all NC State ever since. Daniels spins, pulls up, unable to convert. Kevin Keats still barking for the defense, and a reach-in foul is called. Bowman's going to get free throws. Kevin Keats had some interesting comments after the game on Wednesday, talking about his team's leadership and maybe a void in leadership. A group of players who haven't necessarily been there before. Collectively, they've come out with a right purpose today.
I can sign 12 autographs in 6 seconds. So reminding you to check your battery this fast, easy.
The direct quote, Brian, even though we've played so many games, the team is really still searching for a leader. There's no consistency as to who's the best defender or who is the best offensive guy. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think with the lineup that they have is that you need someone to be able to step up, and he's got a very deep team. And I think that what he's trying to say is that no one has stepped up and been that leader. And sometimes it's not so much by leading by vocally, is that who's going to be that guy at practice? Who's going to be that guy that's going to get everyone going? And it's been evident in some of the losses that they have had, because you don't have someone that's going to step up and be able to get everyone in that same line. As you see Markel Johnson get to the basket and finish.
High off the glass for Markel. The Cleveland, Ohio native has 4. Bowman lost it on the way to the rim, and last touch by NC State. Under a minute now in the first half.
That last time I saw Bowman go to the basket, I would have loved for him to be able to dip that off to Jordan Chapman, because if you can get Chapman going, that's going to free up his offense, because NC State has been able to put more defenders and focus on not getting him going.
Chapman just unable to connect. He's 0 for 4. Went 3 for 18 on Tuesday. Helms was way off, but a 5-second difference between the game and shot clock here. Of course, Eagles just need offense, not thinking about a final shot or anything like that. Daniels deflects it out of bounds. We're not keeping track, but certainly someone on the NC State bench, they got to be around 10 deflections in this first half.
Well, that's one of the things when we did a game with him earlier, Kevin Keats said that he likes the fact that he wants his guys to get in passing lanes, get those deflections to try to get easier baskets. You see Kai Bowman be able to get rolling. Maybe he'll get some momentum into going to the halftime, because it's been all NC State in the first half.
Bowman has 9, Popovich has 8. And the rest of the team has just 7. Timeout NC State with 9 seconds to go in the half. The use it or lose it timeout for Kevin Keats to have a quick chat. By the way, Markel Johnson entered the day, Brian, 11th all-time in NC State assists. He just passed the guy who was in 10th place, a guy named Spud Webb.
Oh, wow. And you talk about great guards. A shout out to my man, Chris Corciani, one of the all-time greats in North Carolina State. But Johnson, and we talked about that his assist numbers are down from last year. But when you look at what they have as far as talented players, he's not the only guy that's handling the ball as much as he did last year. And if you're Kevin Keats, 8 seconds left to go, you want to get a quality look.
Spud Webb at 5'7". I mean, Muggsy Bogues is pretty good at 5'3", but Spud going to the NBA, winning a dunk contest, insane. And a foul to give BC, just the 4th team foul of the half. That could give 2 more fouls here in the next 5.9.
Going back to your point about Spud Webb, I remember him playing with the Atlanta Hawks and Dominique Wilkins back in the day at the Omni. Spud coast to coast. Definitely getting the most out of his height.
And Avery Wilson, rarely used sophomore from Forest Park, Georgia, down your neck of the woods, into the game to give a foul. Bowman picked up his first. Eagles have 1 more to give. Johnson pulls up with 2 seconds left, unable to connect. Funderburg's follow is too late. Well, Kai Bowman hit a 3 to close out the scoring, but Jim Christian's team went on a long drought. And it's the NC State Wolfpack in front by 17. Important day for NC State, trying to bounce back from the loss on Wednesday, trying to build some momentum heading into the ACC tournament this week in Charlotte. Wolfpack by 17 at the half. Welcome everybody to the Hardee's halftime report. Final day of the ACC regular season, and NC State looking for a convincing road win, not just to clinch the 8th seed in the tournament, but also to boost the profile for the NCAA committee. Helping the profile, Braxton Beverly, 0 for 8 on Wednesday, hit 3 threes in the first half today.
This university is on a march to achieve our full potential.
We help empower each other to dream big and do big.
That's why I really love our slogan, Think and Do. You get these folks from NC State, they don't mind rolling up their sleeves and getting their hands dirty.
Companies want to hire NC State students.
We make something impossible possible.
We've been equipped to go out there and do great things and to change the world.
It's in the DNA of the place. We're here to think and do the extraordinary.
You're watching Fox Sports South.
ACC College Hoops is brought to you by The Works Pegasus. Your workspace, any place. Find it at your local Lowe's. Hardee's. And Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
Hardee's halftime report continues here inside Connie Forum, where the Eagles trail 41-24. Boston College will play on Tuesday in Charlotte at the New York Life ACC Tournament, hosted inside the Spectrum Center. Make sure you check your local listings for where to see the games in your area. Coverage Tuesday all the way through Saturday night, the championship game at 8:30. 6 different champs, Brian, in the last 7 years. First, Virginia won in 2014 and then beat North Carolina last year, 71-63 in Brooklyn. The top 3 teams in the ACC among the top 4 teams in the country. First time the ACC's ever had 3 of the top 4 teams in the rankings in the month of March. And we see Pittsburgh's out of the cellar. They'll take on Boston College in the 11-14 game. That's 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. NC State, win or lose today, locked into that noon tip-off on Wednesday as the madness really begins.
And that's what we talk about with March, is that when you see all of these teams in the matchups, interesting to see how everything unfolds, because we've seen throughout the year that you've got some teams, obviously, you got Virginia, Duke, Carolina in there, but then you throw the teams like Florida State in the run that they've been on as of late. Interested to see once this thing unfolds, who gains momentum and who's able to cut the nets down.
Well, Florida State's had an incredible season after starting 1-4. They're now a double-bye team in that top 4 with the big 3, Duke, Virginia, and UNC. Markel Johnson, big part of the story in the first half. The steal, the score, and the 17-point lead. Back inside Conte Forum with NC State leading 41-24. The Wolfpack looking to pick up their 21st win today. That would match last year's total in Kevin Keats's first year on the job. Second half coming up from Chestnut Hill. This has been the Hardee's Halftime Report. Sunny blue skies here in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts for the regular season finale of ACC College Hoops on the campus of Boston College. We welcome you back inside Conte Forum for our Hardee's game summary. I don't know about you, Brian, but NC State 10 assists. Boston College only has 8 field goals. That really stands out.
Well, and one of the things we talk about is NC State limiting Boston College in their offense. You see the 18 points in the paint. The rebounding advantage is something also that I think that has allowed them to jump out to such a big lead.
NC State led by Braxton Beverly, who hit 3 3-pointers in the first half. Boston College's Kai Bowman finished the half with 9, but it was a fairly quiet 9 for Kai, who, of course, he played all 20 minutes. You know, Kai played 40 minutes on Tuesday, and like his minutes per game for the last month went down because he's averaging more than 40 minutes a game. With a couple overtime games mixed in, BC comes up with a steal 15 seconds into the second half.
This first 5 minutes is critical for Boston College. They've got to get some offense going.
Bowman missed the runner, and Kai was out of bounds when he touched it. It's Wolfpack ball.
One of the things that NC State has done for Kai Bowman is that they're putting athletic guards on with length, and he has not been able to get any kind of rhythm. You talked about the 9 points, but for Boston College to get back into this, they've got to find a way to get him rolling, and then along with Chapman, and then trying to find more ways to get Popovich involved. I like some of the moves he made early in the first half.
DJ Bryce contested jumper is good.
That's the guy for NC State that I think they're looking forward into the ACC tournament and possibly NCAA tournament, that they'll lean on with his experience because he can make shots. I think that he's one of those guys that can get on a nice little roll, especially as the tournament starts.
He's played in a couple NCAA tournaments at UNC Wilmington under Kevin Keats. Sat out last season when the Wolfpack made the run to the dance. Shot clock already down to 10 here. Bryce harassing Bowman. Bowman forced to fire. Puts it in.
I thought they ran a little too much time off the clock. But again, for Kai Bowman, anything to get him going. But you definitely have to get some stops on the other end. This is not the time where you exchange baskets.
Here's Bryce looking to go to work again. Zips it around the perimeter for Beverly. And Bowman rises up for the rebound. Kai, the first player in the game in a double figures. He's got 11. Make it 13.
Consecutive baskets by Kai Bowman. Again, we've seen Evan throughout the year. This is the guy that can catch fire quickly.
And this is starting to have the looks of the sequel, NC State BC. 17 days ago at PNC Arena, double-digit lead disappeared pretty quickly. Walker, flop for Popovich, went uncalled, leads to the easy Walker dunk.
And Popovich looking for a little assistance from the refs. Refs not buying the act.
Bowman steps into it, comes up short. This team is has a different energy, a different motor when Markel Johnson's playing well.
Well, and he looks to get everyone in their shots, like the fact that he's composed enough to not force anything. And on cue,
he knocks down a little bit of a force. If you make it, it counts regardless of the circumstance. 3 minutes gone in the second half, and the lead now up to 19 for NC State. They're led by as many as 20 before Bowman's 3 in the final minute of the first cut the halftime deficit to 17. Jarius Hamilton spins to the lane, battling with Mitchell for the same rebound. And Mitchell through the traffic draws contact. Stefan does a little bit of everything for BC, and you can say the same thing about Markel Johnson. for NC State.
Well, and you realize that he had Popovich on him, and he gave him a little bit of a hesitation, creating some space. And that's one of the things that we talked about, his assist numbers, but his ability to be able to score. That's a guy that can get separation, nice little step back in the finish.
Mitchell entered today with 100 free throw attempts on the season. He had made 54 of them. Double figures 2 times this year, both in the non-conference portion of the season. He's nearly a 2,000-point scorer in high school, though, so he can make some shots. 2 for 2. That trip to the line for Mitchell.
And this is where Boston Colleges try to get into this lead, extend your pressure.
Well, if you extend it and doesn't work out, it often leads to a layup at the other end, and even the off-kilter pass saved by Dorn.
And Dorn is that guy that I love his skill set because he can score, but I love the fact that he's a hustle guy. He's not going to take any plays off. That last time being able to get the offensive rebound for that tip in.
Brian, all 5 NC State starters had between 6 and 9 points, and now C.J. Bryce becomes the first member of the pack to move into double figures. 11 for Bryce, and a timeout for BC.
And if you're Kevin Keats, you're at your best when you can get deflections and you can create offense. NC State off to a nice little run.
Largest lead of the game for the pack. It's now time for Protecting the Paint, brought to you by CPI Security. Defense becoming offense for NC State.
Yeah, what NC State has been able to do is that all that good defense have been leading to buckets. Talk about their ability to get deflections and get out and run and finish. They've been able to get this game open by creating a lot of opportunities in transition by good defense and being able to finish at the basket.
Wolfpack have accumulated 7 steals so far in the game. They stole the ball 11 times in the 45 minutes against the Eagles. They're high for ACC play, except for the 12 steals they had in the first game against Carolina. Eagles need to get somebody going, whether it's Hamilton or Popovich or Chapman. Popovich rejected. Loose ball finds Hamilton. Here's Bowman with 3 on the clock. Rebound Johnson. Numbers for the pack. Bryce hangs in the air, and Dorn with the follow.
Once again, Dorn not giving up on the play. You see Bryce not being able to finish. BC's got to do a better job of being able to get back and block out. Dorn making a living, get to the offensive glass.
10 points, 8 rebounds for Dorn. Second chance buckets hurting the Eagles' cause. And NC State continues its second half onslaught. They're 6 of 8 from the floor in the second half. After this one concludes, there will only be 2 ACC regular season games remaining. Those will be this afternoon, and the bracket coming into shape. Our upcoming schedule brought to you by North Myrtle Beach Convention and Visitors Bureau. And this is basically what it's gonna be. Virginia, North Carolina, Duke, that could all get moved around based on what happens. Virginia hosting Louisville at 4 o'clock, and then the Tar Heels and the Blue Devils will cap the ACC season tonight at 6 from Chapel Hill.
Well, I'm interested to see once we get past the Tuesday matchups, how everything starts to unfold Wednesday going forward. When you look at Louisville, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, and obviously the matchup between what looks to be Clemson and North Carolina State.
Well, their one meeting during the regular season went down to the wire, and Marquise Reed missed a ton of free throws. And you see Stephon Mitchell holding his hand. Great catch by our crew, because he deflected that inbounds pass and paid the price for it. Take a look. Ouch. How long does that hurt for, Brian?
I wouldn't say it's going to hurt for a while, but I imagine a guy with the toughness of Mitchell, he's probably passed that on his own to the next play.
Daniels the alley, and Funderburk the soft oop. 55-30. Wolfpack stretched the lead to 25.
Well, Boston College's extended pressure wasn't that tough. NC State doing a good job realizing the best way to attack is to go right to the basket. Funderburk with a nice block.
He was ferociously hunting that runner from behind. And now Beverly circles the wagons. But yeah, the Clemson-NC State game, January 26th, one of the craziest finishes of the year. Thunderberg left open, says why not? C.J. Bryce grabs the rebound. NC State has been a step quicker to everything today as Daniels cashes it in.
And those are the 50-50 plays. When you talk about a team that needs this victory, NC State has come out in the first half, and they've been able to get that extra rebound, get those deflections, and it's proven right now as they've extended this to a 28-point lead.
And you talked about how important the first 5 minutes would be. 17-6, NC State leads in second half scoring right now.
And I think one of the things we have not talked about is C.J. Bryce and his ability to be able to make life difficult for Kai Bowman. Being able to be in front of him, he's long, athletic, and Kai Bowman has not been able to get those easy looks and penetrations.
Offensive foul on Daniels. He's dismayed by the whistle, but Tim Comer saw it as a charge.
And that's the second offensive foul that we've seen Popovich take today. And again, earlier I talked about how impressed I was with how far he's come in his game on both ends of the court. But one of the things we haven't talked about, too, for Boston College is Winston Tabbs and his availability going into the tournament. I think that if he's able to come back, he adds another dimension to his Boston College team.
Mitchell outside Avery Wilson getting a few more minutes. Sophomore from Georgia. On the drive, lost it. Thunderberg. It's another NC State steal. NC State getting wherever they want to go, and Devin Daniels had a wide open look.
Well, a lot of that was with Helms having the mismatch, and it forced a double team. One of the things about NC State, too, is when you've got Thunderberg and Helms out here, you've got guys that can switch out on guards and defend the perimeter.
Chapman fires another, and finally on senior day, Jordan Chapman sticks a three.
Nice touch pass from Kai Bowman over to Jordan Chapman. Again, BC's got to do a good job of being able to limit NC State.
Helms touched it last. It's BC ball.
You see the last play. You see Jordan Chapman get in there, and then Helms getting
It's a great call by Jamie Lucky.
Fingertip on it.
NC State by 25, continuing to pick up full court. Light pressure. Pass to Chapman, a little wild, and the Eagles turn it over for the 12th time.
You saw Kevin Keys come with the substitution. I'm sure that he's realizing that the last matchup, although they are farther ahead now than they were in Raleigh, that he doesn't want to take a chance and allowing Boston College to get anywhere close to in this game, understanding how important they need it.
Thunderberg from the elbow comes up short. So we'll get into this conversation through the rest of the game. It's going to be fascinating to see how the committee deals with NC State. A team that is going to have at least 21 wins. A team that has a couple good wins, but you know, remember last year they beat Arizona, they beat Carolina, they beat Duke. They don't have the same depth of marquee wins that they did last year, and obviously the strength of schedule metric treats the Wolfpack as poorly as anybody in the nation.
Well, if you're Kevin Keyston, you take care of business today, and then you realize that going into the tournament, what it looks like that first matchup against Clemson, you've got to take care of business, not taking anything for granted, because we've seen in years past there are a lot of teams that seem like they've done enough, but then they get taking away because of the success of someone else that may be right there as a next four in or first four out.
Both coaches and the committee like to talk about body of work and not just one game. It certainly will be cliche between now and Wednesday to perhaps think of the Wolfpack and the Tigers as the winner is in the dance and the loser is sitting on thin ice until Sunday night. That might be too simplistic to think of it that way, though, because it is the whole body of work. Johnson brings it back out. And for NC State, you think about the missed opportunities for marquee wins against Carolina at home, against Virginia at home.
Well, I think also, Evans, you got to look at some of these other conferences that may get more than 6 or 7 teams in and how they fare as well. There's some other teams that they still have to do some work. And you look at the SEC and a number of teams that they're projecting and how some of those bottom-tier teams and how they finish up as well.
Mitchell on the follow, can't connect. Luka Kraljevic didn't look like he wanted to shoot it. Chestnut fires. And the rebound finds Markel Johnson, who's quietly at 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. And there's 3 more for C.J. Bryce. He's the Wolfpack's leading scorer today on a day when NC State is running away from Boston College. Kevin Keats and company in firm command in Chestnut Hill.
ACC College Hoops is brought to you by the official corporate champions of the ACC. Geico. New York Life. Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. Food Lion. And Toyota.
One of the greatest legends in Boston College history, Doug Flutie. Right as he was cocking the arm to throw the pass that Gerard Phelan caught against Miami, one of the most exciting plays in college football history. Not as exciting for Boston College. Nick Popovich hobbling to the locker room. Not sure what happened, but the junior from Bosnia and Herzegovina, a big loss if he can't return either today or Tuesday. BC again comes up empty at the rim, and NC State up by 26 and looking for more. Kevin Keats with his arms up saying, let's settle down. And he's not a guy that asks his team to slow down too often.
Well, and again, I think that he wants them to run their set, and I think that they have been really efficient today.
Johnson, step back. Rebound Mitchell. Kai Bowman spinning in the lane. He's got 13 today. Chapman, no. Luka Kraljevic missed the stick back. Stephon Mitchell doing the dirty work. Hard thud as he landed on the floor.
Yeah, Stephon Mitchell's that guy that, you know, he plays hard, doesn't mind mixing it up in there. Does a little bit of everything for Boston College, be it defense, rebounding. He's that guy that's always going to be around the ball.
Mitchell, native of Shakopee, Minnesota, playing his 60th game as a BC Eagle today.
Introducing Pegasus, a next-generation all-in-one work table and clamping system.
Mitchell, one of just 5 Eagles to score in this game. Basically, the 5 starters, the 5 normal starters, not including the walk-ons who got a couple minutes at the start today. Only guys who have scored for BC. And a foul in the backcourt. I want to ask you about NC State's profile and the resume and what they've done, because the new NCAA evaluation tool, the NET, which is a formula that combines winning percentage and offensive and defensive efficiency, also factors in margin of victory, location of wins, the quality of the wins and losses in terms of point differential. That metric has treated the Wolfpack well. The metric they threw out, the RPI, which you can still find online, NC State is not in the top 100. And there's little precedent for a team outside of the top 100 in RPI getting an at-large bid. So how do you compare and contrast and create an understanding of those two things?
Well, I think that when you look at the fact that they do play in the ACC, and when you look at the teams of Carolina, Virginia, and Duke, and what they have done as far as in this league, then that plays to their factor. I think the last time I checked, they were a possible 12 seed playing themselves in. But again, I think it all comes down to how you perform at the end of the season. If they go on and finish this win and then go into the tournament and get that first win, I would say, barring something drastic happening somewhere else, they'll be in.
Stephon Mitchell shaken up. Still down on the floor, colliding with his own teammate, Chestnut.
And you see a hard fall. He comes here for the block. Collision with.
Ouch. Good to see him pop up. All-time leading scorer and rebounder at Sunrise Christian Academy in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, that was a hard foul. And if you're Jim Christian, you look beyond this game because, again, going into the ACC tournament, you want to make sure that you have all of your players healthy. And I still believe that when you've got a guy like Kai Bowman, he's going to always give you a shot, especially on a neutral site.
Well, the thing for Boston College, Jim Christian hasn't had a game all year where all his players have been healthy. Between Tabs and Hamilton and Mitchell, and you see Popovich going off. It's been a frustrated facial look for Jim Christian for much of the season. The Eagles entered today at 14-15. They could win on senior day. They could be at 500. Maybe win a game in the ACC tournament, put themselves in NIT consideration. Becomes a much tougher road now. Closing in on 9 minutes to go. Kraljevic with a left hand can't connect. I'd say NC State Clemson on Wednesday is going to be really fun because obviously the Tigers felt they gave that game away. And I think even Wolfpack fans recognize Braxton Beverly's heroics aside, the Wolfpack got very lucky on that Saturday in Raleigh.
And you look at both teams and what they can do on the perimeter. We talked a lot about NC State and their perimeter play. And then you look at someone for Clemson and Marquise Reed, one of those guys that can score points in bunches. It's definitely one of those games that's going to be a lot of up and down. It's going to come down probably to the wire again.
Foul on Markel Johnson was his second. The 6th team foul of the half on NC State. Eagles have been only called for 1. Bowman to the bucket, no. Kai Bowman is 4 of 15 today.
And those are finishes at the rim that we normally see him get. See Braxton Beverly not being able to come up with that one.
Flabbergasted look on his face as the shot rimmed out. Bowman going to get to the line. Blocking foul on Funderburk.
And you've seen NC State, their game plan today was put length on him and not allow him to have the uncontested shots. And every drive that he has made today has always been met with some kind of contact or a challenge. And that's one of the things that has not allowed him to have an explosive night in the afternoon.
You mentioned C.J. Bryce is something of an X factor for this NC State team. I think Funderburk falls in that category as well. He just picked up just his 2nd foul today. We were joking with Kevin Keith last night at the Wolfpack practice here at Connie Forum. I just kind of asked Kevin, what has been your message all season long to DJ? Because when he's gotten into foul trouble, it's gotten the Wolfpack into trouble. And, of course, he fouled out of the Georgia Tech game with about 5 minutes to go. He changed things. Kevin Keith said he's had a very aggressive foul-calling demeanor on DJ in practice. He said DJ got pretty angry when he called a foul on him 4 straight possessions in practice this past week. And there's Funderburk showing what he can do when he's in the game.
And one of the things that if you've seen the foul trouble that he's gotten in, it's not always challenges at the rim. It's what we call the ticky-tack fouls. Right. You're reaching at the ball and they're not really plays on the ball. And I think those are the plays that frustrate Kevin Keith because, again, he gets into early foul trouble and that changes the perspective and the dynamic of this team.
Good finish by Luka Kraljevic inside. Remember the Slovenian junior national team. Markel Johnson slows it down. He led the ACC in assists last year. He's averaged 4 a game this year, down from about 7 a game a year ago. Kevin Keats comfortable with a 24-point lead. The Wolfpack on their way to a 9th ACC win. Coaches never stop coaching, though, especially on the road. Markel Johnson for NC State taking care of business. Let's take a look at the drive brought to you by Land Rover.
And we talked about his ability to be able to get to the basket and create his own offense. Thought he's had a really good day. And when you play him, you have to respect the drive, allowing him to get that nice little step back. Very, very important part for them going forward is his ability not only to score, but to distribute, because they've got a lot of guys that they can give you points.
Devin Daniels out of the timeout, swishes the corner three.
And one of those guys, Devin Daniels, we talked to him this last meeting, 19 points. And again, going forward, they've got guys in Daniels and Bryce, Dorn that can give you buckets. The ability is that how consistent will they be when it's time to play back-to-back games when you get into the tournament.
Hamilton off the mark, and Johnson slows it down. Markel's got 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. 3 members of the pack in double figures. One of them, C.J. Bryce. Kai Bowman, the only Eagle in double figures. And when he doesn't get much help, there's not much he can do.
Well, and that's one of the things that North Carolina State has been able to focus more on him.
Timing was off on the lob. Dorn had it poked away from behind. Did you notice there? Both Dorn and Daniels were kind of calling for the lob as they ran down the floor when Markel had the ball.
Daniels realized that Dorn was already, he's like, okay, I'll go ahead and drift out towards the three. When I played, my point guard was my best friend, right? Because he's the guy that's going to look for me in transition and coming off, and so I made sure that he was very well taken care of.
You talked to Kenny Anderson recently?
I have. He is doing better. Thank you for everyone. I talked to his wonderful wife, Natasha, and all the love and support that people have shown over the last week and some change.
Chris Herron Jr. with his first two. You're Kenny Anderson, one of the great guards in the ACC. Some medical issues, but good to hear he's doing better. Mitchell takes his time and then puts it in. I bet you didn't realize when you were in college, Brian, maybe you did, that you and Kenny and Dennis would be tied together forever as Lethal Weapon 3.
I did not, and I think that when we were playing, I remember we were playing in Maryland, and I can't remember, I'm going to ask my buddy Dan Bonner, because I don't know if he was the guy that came up with that coin phrase of Lethal Weapon 3. I do know that there was the movie Lethal Weapon that was out, and we were going on a nice little run, and someone coined that phrase Lethal Weapon 3, and it took off from there.
It's awesome. Makes for great posters.
It does. I've got 3 of them at home.
I bet you do. Your daughter's like, Daddy, who's that? And you're like, that's me.
Well, it's not so much that. She's asking, Daddy, God, why were your shorts so short then?
I bet. Evan Lepler, Brian Oliver, courtside here at Connie Forum. Dorn, shot clock winding down. Hangs in the air for 2.
Nice shot by Dorn. If you ask Kevin Keats, the way that the scoring has been distributed today, I know he would rather have a well-balanced attack. They have been able from the beginning to get whatever it is they've won by eliminating Boston College and being able to get out in transition, and their offense has been very efficient today.
Jordan Chapman kind of at a loss for words with his expression after firing up an air ball.
So what has looked like bad Boston College defense has been, in a large part, good North Carolina State defense, because this is what they want to do. Kevin Keats has guys that can extend you. With their length, they want to try to hurry you up and challenge your shots and not make it easy for you, and that's something they've been able to do today.
Devin Daniels hustles for the rebound. Wolfpack have just played with purpose today at both ends.
And they came out. You know, again, last night we talked to Kevin Keats, and he understood the sense of urgency that they needed to come out with, and I thought that they came out with that, realizing that they need this game to be able to put themselves in a better position to make an NCAA tournament.
Johnson up high. Funderburk gets it back. unable to put it in.
And you saw the frustration on DJ Funderburg's face, because not only did he miss the alley-oop, but then the putback as well.
Aaron gets his own rebound. Chapman fakes it, steps in, takes. Been a tough week for Chapman. He's only 4 for 17 in his last 3 games coming into today. He's 2 of 13 from the field. Devin Daniels and company up 25.
ACC College Hoops is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. Be bold, be confident, live fearless, North Carolina. Your local Ford dealer. And CPI Security, the official security partner of the ACC.
Great beat from the drummer. BC's offense has had a different story, though. Eagles come up with a steal in the full court pressure, and Irvin's Mesniaks fires the 3. All of a sudden, Kai Bowman's like a bull in a china shop out of this last timeout. But the Eagles now, Brian, are 15 of 57 from the field. That's 26%. And they're just 3 of 19, 16% from 3.
Well, in the past, when they have success is when they can get Jordan Chapman going, when they get productivity from Nick Popovich. And it makes it a lot easier for Kai Bowman. Today, neither one of those 2 guys were able to get going, and the focus was largely on defending Kai Bowman, which the NC State guards did a good job of doing.
2.5 minutes to go. NC State gonna pick up their 21st win of the year. Have a chance to grab number 22, an important game Wednesday in Charlotte against the Clemson Tigers. Wyatt Walker looking to get into double figures, is rejected by the rim.
Yeah, Walker not able to finish that off. I thought Harris made a great pass to lead him, just not being able to finish.
Kraljevic has not been his day. He's 1 for 4. Here's Helms from the corner, and that's 3. Jarrett Cole Helms with his 2nd triple of the day.
Helms is that guy that intrigues me, because with his length and athleticism, he can finish around the basket, a good defender. You saw him being able to knock down the 3.
Kraljevic tips in his own miss at the rim. Helms, same spot, different result. Walker finds a rebound, and that'll allow the Wolfpack to take another 30 seconds off the clock and take us under a minute. Kevin Keats talked about how his team didn't practice well before the Georgia Tech game. Said they were looking for leadership, and I'm not sure all the problems are solved today, but this is a pretty convincing start-to-finish performance for their final regular season data point. Daniels caught no iron, and it's a shot clock violation with 36.8 to play.
When we talked to him yesterday, he seemed more relaxed, and I think that he had a notion that his guys were going to come out and they were going to perform.
Jordan Chapman exiting from the Conte Forum for the final time. His dad, Jeff, and the great scores in BYU history, recording the moment for posterity. And Gordon Geehan, they're going to wave off the bucket. BC bench wants it to count. Gordon Geehan, the walk-on from Dallas, has 9 career points, playing in his 15th career game today. 3-time All-Conference in high school. Kai Bowman gets a round of applause as he departs. And that was apparently just a 1-and-1, so Geehan comes up empty. The shot clock is off, and that will do it. NC State trailed 11-7 and then pulled away. Led 41-17 at the half. wins the second half 32-23. And the Wolfpack snap the 2-game losing streak. Head into the ACC tournament on a winning note. 73-47 is your final. The Wolfpack finished the ACC regular season at 9-9. They're 21-10. And they'll get another chance to make their case to the committee on Wednesday in Charlotte. Today's Toyota Let's Go Places, C.J. Bryce bouncing back from his tough shooting night on Wednesday. He led the Wolfpack balance attack. He had 14.
Yeah, I thought that what he did on offense was really impressive. But what I thought also helped him also was his defense on Kai Bowman. He was able to knock down shots, came out early and established himself. Very productive day for C.J. Bryce.
So NC State officially locks up the 8 seed. They'll wear the white jerseys presumably against Clemson, but the 8-9 matchup secure. Boston College will take on Pittsburgh, a team that they beat in the regular season. That'll be Tuesday at 7 as the ACC tournament begins at the Spectrum Center. Just 2 more ACC regular season games, Virginia, Louisville, Duke, Carolina, and then the madness really begins.
Well, yeah, that's where you always highlight March, is the fact that you get into tournament play and a lot of these teams look to improve their position on the NCAA tournament and also for bragging rights.
Disappointing senior day for sure for Jordan Chapman. A great career, but just 2 of 13 from the field today. 1,000-point scorer, over 200 threes for Chapman. And they'll certainly look to bounce back. Kai Bowman will try to lead the Eagles against Pittsburgh on Wednesday. What are your final thoughts from today and really from the regular season as we try to turn the page? A new season begins on Tuesday in Charlotte.
Well, I thought for this game, the NC State came out and they took care of business. We talked that they needed this win to be able to better their chances. I think that when you look at conference play as we go into the tournament, there are a lot of things. When you get past the double bye, there are a lot of different scenarios that can play out. When you get past Tuesday and you get into the things for Wednesday, a lot of things are going to pan out.
Brian Oliver, always a pleasure being with you. We bookend our season together in the regular season with the Wolfpack, in fact, in November in Raleigh and here today. Don't forget, New York Life ACC tournament begins Tuesday. Check your local listings. Final score today, Wolfpack 73, Eagles 47. For our producer, Eric Kendall, our director, Lonnie Dale, my partner, Brian Oliver, and our entire crew, Evan Leffler saying so long from Chestnut Hill.